So so please, where did I stop before the the unforeseen happened? Hello guys.
Before we ran script. I don't think you finished typing before the thing went off.
Okay, I was typing the script, right? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
So let me start over from the top. Remember, we actually wanted to we are following a task that we want the script to execute. Okay. So not this. The script is meant to do this. That is to ask the user, excuse me, to ask the user to enter their full name, and we use the echo command to do that because the echo command outputs information to the screen. Okay, single line of text. Now, after that, excuse me, after that, we need to have an avenue that the user must what must input, because we have actually put a command here. We are asking the user to do something, so there must be an avenue for the user to do it. So that is the function of the read command. The read command gives a prompt where the user can enter, okay, values. So the user, we use the read command to collect input from the user, and then the input that the user enters is stored into the name variable. Now onto the next step. Said ask the user to enter their year of birth, which we use the echo to do that here again. And then what we use the read command to initiate the prompt that the user should enter their year. So whatever the user enters, it is stored inside this year variable. So now we want to do something that we want to calculate the age of that user. And by that, in that sense, we are creating a variable called present, which is storing 2023 because we are currently in 2023. So we want to perform something like a logic whereby present we subtract the users here, or whatever the user entered will be subtracted from what present, that is 2023 minus the year that the user entered. And I was explaining something about arithmetic operation in shell, whereby probably I was using this example that okay, let's say we want to add two number, and let's say this the result will be stored inside this variable called result. Okay, so now in shell, whenever you are performing arithmetic operation or general arithmetic operation as it is, you must start with a dollar sign and then enclose it inside parentheses or square or brackets, you understand? So so we must start with a dollar sign, and then inside the parentheses or the brackets, then you have the computation. You understand? So so you have it this way. So this dollar sign and the computation, that's why we have results, and then we have the dollar sign, which is to perform what this computation a plus b, adding two numbers. Another thing we have, it was a typical example where we have this constant 2 plus 2 inside the parenthesis, and it will give us this value, which is 4. And we can do every other thing, every other arithmetic operation that we have. Of course, we know the law of arithmetic, the Bodmas operation, the Bodmas rule. The Bodmas rule, brackets will be solved first before every other thing happens. So in fact, we can still have something like, if we have these two results performed, they should be, we can have even something like times 5. So it will be like this set, this one will be operated, and then it will happen to this, and then it will go like this. So we all understand. So what we need to understand is the dollar sign and the computation inside what parentheses. So the same thing is the logic we are trying to what implement here, where we have the age variable and the age variable will be computed with the present what minusing the what the year that the user imputed. And then now we are storing the value. We want to actually print, from here. After we have gotten the age of the user, we want to print to the we want to print today's date on the screen. There is also another operator in shell called the date operator, whereby we can automatically get today's date today's date from the shell. We can get today's time from the shell, you know. So we can get today's year from the shell, and this is done with the date command. So the date command has it. So in order to actually access that, we we use the $sign and then impute the date command inside the parentheses. So that will what supply date. So if you are printing today's date, so it is just like this. So if I do echo on the screen, if I echo like this will print today's. Output full date, let me call it that way. So it output full date, the date, the year, the time, everything. So we can either do it this way, or we can do it this way too. Backtick dates. This works too. So that's just how to get today's date. But mostly this is the modern way. This is like the old way, and it's actually going extinct into extinction. So this is actually the modern way of actually running the script. So whatever, when we get it, we are storing it into today. So the next thing is now to output all of these function, all of this command, finally print to the screen. No. Okay, so it will now print. We are now printing "you are welcome," referencing the name that the user entered from this line. It will ask for the name already here, and then the user will input the name. Now we are referencing whatever input on the name. This is the name variable. Obviously, we said from here, the read command can collect input from the user. But when we don't specify the variable, it should what store it. It will just collect, and it will not be stored anywhere. But with this like this, it is the input from this read is stored inside the name. So this is why we are referencing it here. The name, the name that the user entered will be referenced here. And now the next one is so you are age. The age here will be what? The age that was computed from this line. Okay. So the age that was computed from this line will be stored into the age variable. And the age was computed from the present minusing what? The year that the user entered. Now we now say we are echoing what today is today by what? Collecting the value of the date from the date command, and which is stored inside the today variable. Okay, so if I should save this and run this script, we should have our output as expected. Now I can run my script in three different ways. I can add execute permission, to the file. I can I can add execute permission.
Hello, Mike. Hello.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey, can you zoom in? I'm using my phone. It's a little bit small.
Okay, sorry about that. Come please. Why this man has zoom? Sorry, no. Come. Okay. Um. this Ubuntu focal virtual this thing. So let me take my mouse in a minute. Currently, permit me, let's continue this way. I don't know if we can just manage because um I don't want to waste time on this, and my mouse is even far. I
No
can't even
problem.
find it.
No
So
problem. No problem.
yes,
Thank you.
so we can. I'm trying to explain something that how can I ways I can ways I can run the script. I can run the script by adding execute permission. Okay, let me do this. Probably this one should work. This way. So I can run the script by adding execute permission. I can do that. I can also run the script by adding it to the shell environment, and I can lastly I can run it by using bash script name. So these are three different ways I can run the script. So I think I have not run scripts using bash before. So let's say this is the list of files, and I can do bash. Um, what's the name of our script? Greet user. Remember, look at this. We've not even turned it to an executable, but it will run and it will what? It will perform the action or instruction inside. So if you run our script, look at it. Please enter your full name. And if I say Michael Bamidele, now it's giving me the next prompt. Please enter your year of birth. Now if I input, can you see? You are welcome, Michael Bamidele. So you are 26 years old. Today is Friday, July 7th. Time 22:12 UTC, even my time zone, and then 2023. The script has performed what we asked it to do. So I can, if I clear, I can turn it to an executable, you know, and I can always run it in this way, and it will do the same thing. And you can just please enter your year of birth, 2000. Look at, you are welcome, Michael Jackson. So you are 23 years old. So it's a look at, you can see this computation. You can see how dynamic it is. It is what? It is computing the age by what? By the user input and calculating, performing operation on it. Instead of imputing or type coding, and even the date too. Today is the date too is what? Dynamic by the date command. If I run the date command here, like I was saying, if I do echo, if I do backtick dates, can you see? It gave me the date. Or I do echo this one, can you see it? So I think lot of things has been established here. We've been able to um, learn about the read command. We've been able to learn about variables in shell, and we've been able to learn about arithmetic computation, and we've been able to learn how to what? Set values to create variables and set values to variable, and we've been able to reference what? Variables even in echo commands or echo, yes, the echo command. So I think I've been able to do some justice. Do we have question, clarification, or probably some kind of possibilities to it can come in. Yep. Now, if you look at this, I have some scripts here which I created. I created something. This one asks for full name. This one asks for account login. If I, they are actually this basic that I have spoken about. You know, they do all this basic. We have this read command, and then this read command. For every shell command, there will always be flag based on the command, and that flag will what perform different options. Now, this read command here, read with this p here, it gives option of it gives option of prompts at the same time. Instead of me using echo, it eliminates echo. I don't want I'm not going to be doing write echo on a line first then coming to read. Instead, I can use the read command to perform the work of the echo and also store the value into a variable. That is where we have the read command, and with the flag p, it will prompt the user and at the same time store whatever the user enters into what into this into the variable, this variable username. And look at this next line, say your username will be, and then referencing the username variable. Now we now have another one again, read. Now this flag s called silent, and this p for prompting at the same time storing the value. So for prompting, it said, please enter the password you like to use. And then the user what we can enter the password and it will be stored into the password variable. And at the long run, we can now echo a space, and then we can now echo you entered, reference the password for your password as your password instead. You know. So let me run the script and let's see what it does. If I do bash account, what is your desired username? Your username will be overlooked. With reference to this line, please enter the password you like to use. So if I start entering my password, you can't see anything on the screen. Okay, I entered 12345 actually. Can you see? You entered 12345 for your password. It is based on the string here. This line is running. So I now say masking what entered. What is entered does not obscure the data. This is just a line from this text. So what do we learn here? Basically, the read command can have flag. If we do man read, we can see read from a file descriptor, and we can see read attempts to read up to count. Okay, and just all the documentation that we can see from here. Let me go to the flag. Okay, the flags are not the flags are not referenced in this manner. If we read on the documentation online, we see that. So we've able to learn about variables. So now let us talk about piping in shell.